They say the best things come from the worst shit.
Like I said earlier about who were the two individuals that got shot next to Nipsey. Now, a lot of people thought that maybe that was Nipsey's friends or they didn't know, but Kerry Lathan sat down with Vlad TV today and he spoke about exactly what happened that moment. Eric Holder allegedly came around the corner shooting Nipsey Hussle. So I'm just going to play a small audio excerpt, and Sam Matt, we're going to talk about this. Here's Kerry Lathan, who is now in county lockup.
Can you describe what happened exactly?
Me and my nephew were going up the street to console somebody else's parents because they just lost their parents. So he said, "You don't have to keep wearing that shirt." I was like, "What?" He said, "This shirt." I said, "It's clean." He said, "Look, it's dingy. You're in the new world. You're not in prison no more. You can pull right." He said, "Matter of fact, there's no Nipsey in a lot, so you could pull right in and grab you a fresh white shirt." I'm like, "Okay." So when I go in there, they didn't have a white one that I wanted. I said, when y'all gonna get that in again? He said, "Well, they go Nipsey's a lot. Go talk to him." And I talked to him. He said, that'll be about a week, bro. I said, "Okay." And when I said it, it was all bad. Gunman turned around the car and shot me, then shot Nipsey. And then shot my nephew. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, "What the hell?" You know, but I fell on my stomach. And all I could see was people's feet. I couldn't see nothing else. I said, so they got it wrong when they talk about me as being an eyewitness. What am I supposed to do? When I see a gun, I turn around and run. I don't stop and take a selfie of the gunman. I don't do that. I ain't gonna move. You see a gun, you run.
Okay. So the whole shooting happened. You get hit, your nephew gets hit.
In less than 3 seconds, 3 minutes.
So he goes on to pretty much say he didn't really know him crazy like that. He was a youngster, when he, was doing his thing, and he, was just out just trying to get some clothes, ran in the nip and seeing this happen. And now you can catch the rest of this interview right now. It's on Vlad TV, on Vlad TV. TV.com, for the full interview right now. But I just want to start to say, we were kind of talking about this when we heard a little bit of it earlier. It seems as if he's starting to already lay out, like, look, I ain't seen nothing. They calling me an eyewitness. When I seen the shooter, I'm not taking no selfie. I'm turning around and running and whatnot. And he's trying to, because obviously we know that he, killed somebody before did time. So it's this whole thing about being a snitch now. That he's trying to cover himself. So he's saying he ain't seen nothing pretty much. I don't like it. I don't like it, because a brother was killed, right in front of you. And I'm just not buying that he didn't see exactly, who it was that came around, the corner and shot Nipsey Hussle. Because he said that he seen the guy shoot Nipsey. You know what I mean? No, shoot. Yeah, he said shot him and then Nipsey. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's just like, come on, man. So he shot, then you seen him do that. So you had to see him.
You saw him.
So he, it's more, obviously, y'all can listen to the rest of the interview. We're just playing that small clip, but I just don't like that, Sam, man. What are your thoughts on just this episode that we heard, from Mr. Lathan, man, and speaking of Vlad, man?
Well, I mean, I agree with it, and it goes into detail because it's a little further, and we can read a lot more into what he said in that brief excerpt if you listen to more of the conversation, because we'll dig deeper as it goes along. But that being said, don't act like you didn't sit here and see dude. Did it happen quick? Hell yeah, within a blink of an eye. But you saw him pull up. Apparently, he pulled up the asphalt. Like he was there initially, then he came back, and then they went off and shot. We don't even know if that's true anymore. But right. Towards your story, he came up on you as you were talking to Nip, and then boom. So I don't agree with that either. And I think that it's a situation where he is trying to go, I ain't no snitch. This ain't what I'm doing. Oh, God, let me ask you this, though, man, because I know a lot of people in our comment section in particular, when we talk about Takash and we talk about the whole snitch culture and how we approach things like that when you talk about telling. And the first thing you said was, hey, man, you got to tell, you got to let them know, which I agree with. But there's going to be a lot of naysayers like, well, what you said, don't snitch. So would you please, to the people in the audience and the subscribers that watch and listen, tell them the difference between this eyewitness being shot and telling on the gunman that killed a man in front of him?
Obviously, we know that. I mean, we know that. Obviously, when they talk about snitching, you doing, a crime with the person. y'all get caught up, you know what I mean? And now you're telling everybody. That's what happened with Tekashi. But at the time of the alleged crimes, we see him, you know, on TMZ doing what he did. We all seen what he did, but he talked all this gangster stuff, got pinched and started ratting on the whole team to look like he's going to be free right now. But this is a situation where you got this ex-con who's not supposed to be affiliated with gang members or ex-cons himself as a condition of his parole, going up to Nipsey, didn't really know him like that, but asking him about some gear. Somebody comes around the corner, you know what I mean, and opens fire. He says he don't see him. It's a different situation, but this guy's still going to be looked at as a snitch from some people just because of the lifestyle that he came from. He's going to be looked at like that, period. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you ain't supposed to say nothing. That's why he's already laying out, you know, his alibi. Like, look, eyewitness, I ain't see nothing. I ain't taking no selfie when somebody comes with a gun. I was turning my back and I turned and run. What the camera footage probably is going to say, you know, from the marathon, and T-Mo is probably going to say something totally different than that. But this is what I expect people like this to do. This is the code that a lot of these guys live by. But obviously there's a difference between what Tekashi is doing, in my opinion, and what he will be doing. Because now you're looking at a situation where, all right, if you didn't see him, did your nephew see him? From the picture of his nephew, looked like he's a doctor or some type of surgeon or something like that. So he might not even be in the streets. So is he going to say something? You know, is he going to identify a holder? Then you put in Nipsey Hussle's family and, you know, the people that are looking for justice for him. If hopefully they do have camera footage, because you already got one guy say he ain't seen shit. So it's, you know, it could turn out, this thing could turn out to be, it can go a whole nother way. But I mean, this is the way some people think, man. This is what it is.
I don't believe that his statement and his statement alone will dictate the outcome of Eric Holder based off of the amounts of cameras that they have in the area. I mean, they got the cameras so goddamn good. They could be in a football game and you could be watching it in HD like you are on NFL Sunday. They that clear out there in LA. And then we were talking in our pre-production on Friday with our man Riz, shout out to Riz, and it's locked down out there with cameras. So they got it. That being said, he is definitely laying out his alibi, laying out his reason. And so I don't even want to put this in the C word realm, because I don't think this is I don't think this falls into a conspiracy or anything. I think this is a man that did time who walks under a certain code, who is abiding by that code. That code, let's talk about that real quick. Because all that being said, we all were hit very emotionally by Nipsey Hussle's death. Obviously, his family hit with an earthquake way harder than anybody could imagine.
Right.
Do you blame this man for not saying anything based off of him and how he lives, given the very sensitive nature of this situation in particular?
I expect it, you know, but now it's you know, it's going to come a situation. It's almost like something happens in the hood and, you know, somebody gets shot and everybody's on the porch. The cops come up. I ain't see shit. It's the same type of situation. Some people may say, because they understand the repercussions of them saying something, they're supposed to just shut up and mind their business. You know what I mean? Period. Some people, they know, like, you know, if the kids was out there and they seen it, the parents would be like, you better not say nothing. You ain't see nothing.
Yeah, but usually that's followed up with justice, though. That's usually like, leave cops out of it. We're going to go ahead and handle this ourselves. That's usually followed up with something. This man ain't finna do shit.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like, I expect this guy to do this, though, given, you know, his lifestyle, and he done spent like 26 years in the pen. So we already know how snitches and, you know, people are called so-called rats and whatever you want to call them, anybody cooperating with the police. Maybe he didn't see him. We'll take that, you know, into consideration. Maybe he couldn't get a positive identification. But, you know, given that the camera angles, maybe the camera wasn't working that day. Hopefully they have those angles. There's been no indication if they do, but we do know there were cameras in front of the T-Mobile store and pretty much all over, and definitely in front of the Marathon store, inside and out. It could turn, you know, into a situation where he could actually, you know, defense can actually use him and say, well, look, the dude right there, right next to Nipsey, said that they could not positively identify Eric Holder as the shooter. That could only help the defense, Chris Darden. It cannot help Nipsey at this point.
You know, speaking on Chris Darden and speaking on Eric Holder, damn, I almost lost my phone. Speaking on these two, man, and we had a discussion on Friday behind the scenes, and we were talking about, and it's all through the comments, we hear it, how's this dude paying for this? How's he paying for this? And the discussion came up of his father. Now, nothing's been confirmed. It's just word on the street. It's whispers right now that his father's very well off. And they had this dude, Chris Darden, on a retainer prior to. it's also out there. And even though I haven't confirmed to see the video, I've seen a lot of people have said it, that after after everything was said and done, I think a day after, he may have been on his way to an airport or something, he was on his live.
I didn't see that video, though.
I didn't see it either.
Right.
But he was talking about how I got the best lawyer in the state, or best lawyer in the country, whatever he might have said. I
don't think that's true, but yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so
we
I
would have
can't
seen it by
confirm
now.
You feel me? So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. This just gets more and more interesting, man. I don't know. I said, I haven't really heard anything about the father other than whispers. But as the case comes along and everything starts peeling its way back, man, I think we'll really start being surprised by some things.
Well, what we do know about the guy Eric Holder is that it's ironic. We do know that the guy was retained. Darden was retained. It was a private company, so wherever they remain unanimous. This is his first time getting a lawyer. So obviously, I don't know what connections or anything. His father, I was looking for information on that. We both couldn't find anything on his father. So private company, it's up in the air right now. But I do know as it comes closer to trial, more information to come out. Maybe Eric Holder will release some type of a statement. There's been a whole bunch of alleged stuff. I'm not going to repeat them on the platform right now because it hasn't been confirmed that he's been saying. And we will see, man. You're going to have preliminaries. You're going to have May 10th, I think, is another hearing that's coming up. So the closer it gets to coming to trial for Eric Holder, more information is going to come out, especially if they have the camera angle that everybody's looking for. And I think we'll know probably even the nature of the dispute, because more witnesses are going to be called in. People are going to be called in from the area. They're going to have to speak. But as far as this guy, Lathan, it looks like he's going to stick to that code and say he ain't see shit.
Well, I mean, he may be sitting behind bars again for some time, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
For sitting there and talking to the business owner. But LA County, we all know how they get down sometimes. Not to throw any jabs at LA County, because we may be out there sometime soon. So not to throw any jabs.
What do you think about that, though? What do you think about him being locked up for being shot, essentially, because he's not supposed to be affiliated?
It's sickening, man.
It's crazy.
It's sickening when you really look at it. And that's a very easy conversation. Why were you sitting with this man? Listen, he's the owner of the building. I needed a white T-shirt. I was asking when they were coming in. He told me I got shot. It was a 3-minute conversation. I wasn't out there doing anything activity. This wasn't nothing quote unquote organized. This wasn't a felon talking to a gang member. This was a patron talking to a business owner.